welcome to episode 2 of Drones and Prints. Our 3D printed drone is back. We are taking it to the skies. Today we are making it perfect. Frame upgrade? Yes. Black box deep dive? Check. Tuning? We go for it. Stay tuned and find out why boring carbon fiber frames are already history. From a physics and engineering perspective, 5-inch freestyle or racing drones are clearly the masterclass for a frame designer. In the first episode, we explained the geometry and profile of our drone's frame, as well as the complex forces acting on the structure during flight. We printed frame samples using PETG, and we used blue PETG-CF for our first real drone design on a conventional standard 3D printer. After the first flight, we evaluated our drone's performance based on 5 criteria. First, flight performance. Second, weight. Third, repairability. Fourth, stability. And number 5, design. Even though our prototype printed with PETG-CF flies great overall, during the first flight it showed noticeable vibrations during hovering and slow flight. You could hear them and you could see them on the unstabilized GoPro footage. To record those strong vibrations, I used a suitable SD card in the flight controller, and the problem shows up very clearly in the Betaflight black box analyzer. Tons of noise in the lower range with a maximum at 120 Hz. These are the resonances we have to attack. But before we dive deeper into blackboxing and start working with filters, let's see what we can improve on our frame design. It is a general rule: hardware first, tuning second. Therefore, we will check first the stiffness of our frame, second the damping properties, and third we will investigate the forces acting on the frame. In this episode, I will show you how to make a 3D printed frame of a 5-inch freestyle drone perfect so that it is fully comparable to an expensive carbon fiber frame. The cost of our frame, which is about €8 only, and the independence from manufacturers will be unbeatable. In part 1, I explained the principle of friction damping in conventional carbon fiber drones. Maybe that works for flat carbon fiber plates. But anyway, with 3D printing, we love to think differently. For our drone, we use material damping provided by our Filament PETG-CF. We let stresses flow harmoniously through the geometry and reduce edges and screw joints to a minimum. However, material damping only works where there is enough material. Very simple. Especially in the center section, the middle of the drone, damping needs to work properly because actually there is where the stresses and vibrations from the arms come together. I broke the drone frame in the center and spotted the possible problem. Too much empty space and too little filament. When designing our prototype, we focused on low weight. At around 130 grams including TPU parts, we are currently equal and very competitive with the best carbon fiber drones on the market. But with a little bit more material, say about 20 grams, we are still light, but will gain significantly more stiffness and stability while making much better use of the material damping. We adjust the infill in our slicer software. We choose a different infill pattern, in our case the gyroid structure, and increase the infill density, the number of walls, and the number of top and bottom layers. The gyroid structure repeats in all 3-dimensional directions, is extremely efficient, has no straight lines or sharp corners, is isotropic, and has very good vibration damping. Let's look at the simulation in the slicer software before adjusting the infill. We concentrate on the center of the frame and can see how the 3D printer is building the structure layer by layer. And now, after our adjustments, more material and higher density, which will result in higher stiffness and better damping. As planned, the frame weight increases by about 20 grams, still in an excellent range, and flight times of above 6 minutes, of course depending on the flying style, should be possible. Now we look at the forces acting on the frame. We notice that the propellers on our prototype don't spin freely and smoothly. Higher force required from the motors does not only reduce flight time, but also causes more instability and vibrations in the frame. Here is the problem. The small screw that secures the rotor touches and rubs against the frame surface, which breaks its rotation. Because of this friction, the propellers can't spin properly. Normally the motor only needs to overcome the aerodynamic drag torque of the propeller and the minimal bearing friction. But now, due to the rubbing screw head, a considerable friction torque is added that the motor has to overcome. Following the principle of Newton's third law, action is equal to reaction, this additional torque is fully transmitted to the arm, resulting in higher torsional loading, which is leading to vibrations, jello effects, and maybe hot motors. So we adjust the design. A small 2 mm deep round pocket exactly where the motor screw rotates should fix the issue. After the adjustment, the propellers spin freely and easily. Now the forces acting on the drone arms causing vibrations are significantly reduced and flight time will be increased as well due to less energy consumption by the motors. Before the next test flight, let's double check the basic settings in our SpeedyBee stack and check Betaflight. By the way, all components are listed down in the video description. The 8-bit ESC is flashed with latest BlueJay 21.0 and a PWM of 48 kHz. The flight controller is updated on latest Betaflight version 2025 12.2. I fly with bidirectional D-Shot 300 and ESC sensor is activated. The pit loop frequency is set accordingly to 4 kHz. In the presets tab, we have installed the RC Link preset at 500 Hz. It cleans up the control signals from the radio transmitter before they are converted into motor commands by the flight controller. Last but not least, the Radiomaster transmitter and iFLIGHT Nano receiver are both flashed with Express ELRS 4.0. Even though the drone now flies fantastic and we don't feel any vibrations, let's take a look at the recorded black box data and compare the results. The gyro built into the flight controller records angular velocity and the tiniest vibrations across the drone's three axes: roll, pitch, and yaw. Due to flight physics, vibrations around the roll axis are usually the strongest. Therefore, we are focusing purely on that data, both unfiltered and filtered. By the way, the gyro sensor is super sensitive. Look, even when the drone is sitting still on the table, it can feel a tap of my hand on the tabletop. Let's open the spectrum analyzer in our Betaflight black box tool. I showed this image at the beginning. Those were the unfiltered gyro signals from the first flight around the roll axis. Below, you see the motor RPM during the flight sequence. Green and red colors mean noise. The sharp spike around 120 Hz was the strong resonance which we could see and hear during the first flight. The filtered gyro signal chart looked better, but the spike at low frequency was still much too high. The 400 to 600 Hz range has been effectively filtered and the noise is nearly gone. By the way, this range is mainly motor and propeller noise and we don't care about it. And here, the data after our measures on the frame. First, the unfiltered signal. You can see that the mountain peak around 120 Hz is significantly lower than before. And now the filtered signal. In the filter chart, the little green mountain has shrunk even further down to a small hill and has almost disappeared. It shows that the vibrations and the oscillations of our frame have been effectively and successfully reduced by our measures. We could stop here and be happy, but now let's tweak the filters in Betaflight to eliminate even the last remaining bits. How does a pit loop work and why is a filtered and clean gyro signal so important for a precise pit control? The gyroscope sends the unfiltered signal to the microcontroller unit of the flight controller. Additionally, the flight controller receives the electrical RPM of the motors from the ESC. From these two pieces of information, a filtered signal is generated in the MCU. The filtered signal, together with the data from the transmitter, the accelerometer when flying in angle or horizon mode, and if applicable, the GPS and barometer, is computed in the PID control process. In this process, the MCU calculates the motor commands and sends them to the ESC, which then drives the motors accordingly. The quality of the filtered signal, therefore, directly affects the quality of the signal sent to the motors. If the filtered signal is not clean, the motors will not run cleanly either. A clean signal, on the other hand, results in less prop wash, less noise overall, cooler motors, and a more locked-in flight feeling. This is what is called a pit loop. In the configuration of our drone, this process runs 4000 times per second. Okay, let's open the Filters tab in Betaflight. We increase the dynamic notch by one more filter and adjust the range down to 80 Hz minimum and 350 Hz maximum. We try to hit the little green spike in our unfiltered chart more aggressively. In addition, we adjust the low-pass filter 1 to a range between 200 to 400 Hz. It will reduce the overall noise level and supports the dynamic notch filter without hurting latency. That's it. We don't need to do more and will most likely see a positive effect. Time for another test flight.
Better than carbon, baby, feel the flow. Better than carbon, watch the layers grow. Smooth like a whisper, cutting through the night. My custom creation, taken to the flight.
The flight was perfect, the drone flies even smoother and softer than before. That's it about tuning. Just when you think it can't get any better, it can, if you tweak the right settings. Let's have a final check of the gyro signal around the roll axis after adjusting our filters. In the unfiltered chart and compared to before, the green little spike has shrunk again, maybe by around 50%. Here you can see before adjusting the filters and after adjusting the filters. Similar effect we can see in our filtered result. Here before adjustment and here after adjustment. The green little mountain has nearly disappeared. We give the flight performance of our 5-inch freestyle drone a double plus. The drone flies super smoothly and stable now. It really feels locked in and it is great fun to fly. After more than 20 packs, I personally can say that conventional carbon fiber drones are history for me. What is next? We test stability and speed and keep working on our design. Nothing is so perfect that it cannot be further improved. Can we even build a drone with a frame from PETG or even PLA? Please tell me in the comments which color would you like for the next build. Stay tuned, there is a lot more to come.